Good morning. May the Cuyahoga County Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Good morning, everyone. It is now 10:04 a.m. Calling the roll. Ms. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Gallagher? Here. Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Conwell?
Present.
Mr. Sweeney?
Present.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment?
No public comment has been received.
No public comment. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 27th meeting?
So moved.
Been moved by Sweeney, second Conwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, would you please read the first item?
Resolution 2023-0133, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Deborah Rex George to serve on the Division of Children and Family Services Advisory Board for the term March 1st, 2023 through February 28th, 2027.
Okay, we'll hear from the administration.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Katie Gallagher on behalf of the Executive's Office. And pursuant to Section 20510 of the Cuyahoga County Code, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Deborah Rex to the Children and Family Services Advisory Board for a 4-year term starting on March 1st, 2023. That will end on February 28th, 2026. We are requesting on second reading suspension. Deputy Director Karen Anderson is here on behalf of Department of Children and Family Services if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Rex. Please state your name for the record. Can you push the green button?
Thank
there?
you.
On the microphone at the bottom, which says push. You got it?
It's green.
Deborah Rex George.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good morning. What would you like to share with us this morning?
I guess what I would really like to say is how much I appreciate the opportunity to have served this last 4 years as the introductory group of the advisory board. As you know, it was formed out of a tragic death of a child in an early childhood center. I had just recently retired at that time, and I did contact the current director of the department and said, if anything is done about this, I'd really like to be part of it. And subsequently, over time, I was invited to be on this board. It's my entire career. I don't know if you have copies of my resume or not. I'm sorry if I would bore you, but my entire career was working with children from the time I got out of graduate school, directed the Upward Bound program at Baldwin Wallace College for disadvantaged kids to help them go to college. Then was the founding director for 9 years of Bellflower Center for Prevention of Child Abuse, and then went to Beachbrook and was in different roles, including the CEO role for 27 years. I really care about poor kids. I really care about kids that are in trouble. I think our society doesn't do them justice. This is being on this board is one small way that I can continue to be a voice and lend whatever experience and value my career has had to be able to address issues that are complex, challenging, and yet have to be attended to. We can't just give up. And so I consider one of my roles on the board to be someone who's not afraid to or reluctant to speak truth, and to ask hard questions, and to try and get attention on right things. And I think this board, while for the first 4 years, a lot of it was in the forming stage, I do feel like we were able to make some good impact, and I'm looking forward, if approved, to being able to be even more impactful, both as an individual and as a board this next 4 years.
Okay. So you definitely have a lot of experience related to the board, and you skillfully shared with us what drew you to this appointment and your desire to continue to serve. Are there some areas that you believe DCFS can improve on?
Well, there are always areas of improvement. There are areas that I'm quite concerned about. One of them I'm sure you are all concerned about too, and that's the kids in the building issue, which we identified very early on. It's not that it's a brand new issue, but it became an issue much more so in the pandemic. And this board tried to focus attention on that and also get support for the department through the rest of the system to help address that. But it continues to be a challenge for the department, and I do believe that good minds are working on it with really good intentions. And but we can't. I just firmly believe we can't take our foot off the gas. So we've got to keep pushing on that issue as long as a child is spending the night in that facility and or staff are being hurt. We can't quit. Another issue that is of concern to me, which is less, I don't know, sexy, I guess, is they do not have enough good information to make good decisions. And I really just think,
Who is the they?
the department, I do not believe has enough good information system type data to make the best decisions for kids. And I know we have asked over and over again for different types of data, and I think the intention is there to get it to us as soon as possible, but we can't get it. And I don't know what the answer to that is, whether it's more people or a different focus, but, you know, I am a little concerned about that, more than a little concerned. I'm also, one of the other issues that is of concern, two other issues that I'm going to just focus on. One is staffing. You all know that there aren't enough staff. They can't recruit staff. Staff isn't staying. The turnover rate is very high. So there are always empty positions, and the problem is added to by the quick turnover. Many of them are brand new people who come in and go very quickly, but others have been there for a while and they leave, and that's concerning too. That's bigger than just the department issue. I mean, that obviously there is a problem with hiring people everywhere, but I'm very concerned about that, because what that means is that kids' caseloads get shifted around, and so a child, we have people on our board who are former foster children. They've maybe had 4 or 5 or 6 different caseworkers in a 4-year period. So there's no continuity. They already are sort of lost, and then they feel even more lost when they don't have continuity with the person who's supposed to be caring about them. So I think pushing to try and figure out what the problems are with staffing and try and address those is really important. I think it was really good that salaries were increased, and I do think there'll be some improvement from that, but I don't think that's the only answer. I don't think money is the only answer. The final thing I just want to raise as an issue that is of concern to the board and to me personally is the whole disproportionality in the system. That starting with the first calls, there's a disproportionate number of Black kids that are identified, and at every juncture of the system, every level of engagement in the system, up to and including residential treatment, it gets worse. The disproportionality gets worse and worse and worse. So that's one area where I know the department is also concerned. It's also a national problem. It's not just local. But we haven't, as a board, we haven't been able to get data on that unless it came this week. We haven't been able to get data on that for the last couple of years. We're supposed to have I think it's a quarterly report, but the system can't crank the numbers out. And I just think you can't solve a problem until you really know the volume of how big it is and where it is, to start trying to analyze what are the major factors that need to be addressed.
Well, thank you for your honesty and your transparency. I'm sure that all of us here, feel the same way. We know that there are challenges, talent recruitment for sure, and when the county declares racism as a public health crisis, it permeates every crack of operations. I want to open it up to my colleagues at this time for questions. Chair Conwell.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair to Ms. Deborah, I agree wholeheartedly. Data, children in the room, lack of staff, those have been issues that we've talked about before. I just wanted to ask a question. Has the new director Director Fletcher attended the advisory council?
Yes.
Okay. And so we're constantly in communication, and I know she has I don't know if she shared some of the new ideas that she is trying to implement. Of course, they don't just involve her, they involve other departments.
Yes.
To be combative and kind of help on this situation. I believe you're familiar that we have the child placement meeting.
Yes.
Where we're trying to bring in all the partners to discuss and talk about this issue that is nationwide, and just not enough families or different step down from psychiatric hospital, you know, they just get stuck. Unfortunately, it is more African American children. I'm just wondering, does the board play any role in assisting with advocating downstate for policy changes in terms of opening up the kinship where other family members that may have been in the criminal system years and years ago? I know that changed slightly from, I think, 10 years to maybe, I don't remember the number, but it needs more advocacy because we really need to, we know the data shows it's better for the kids to be with family,
Yes.
and the numbers are growing.
We have not been involved that much in statewide advocacy, but when things have come up, we are responsive. When the director brings us something or when one of our members is aware of something, that we have not been hesitant either locally or at the state level to advocate. The thing that I can think of where we've been the most active was early on with the Bridges program, which is a state program that works with kids that are aging out of the system to keep them enrolled and giving them money as long as they have, it's not a case manager, but they have a person who is kind of their cheerleader to try and keep them in school or get them into college or work in the workforce in some way.
Yeah.
But I think our board stands ready to be advocates.
Okay, so you'd
as
be
needed.
willing.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can have further discussions. Thank you.
Councilman Miller?
So, Madam Chair to Ms. Rex, thank you very much for your service and your commitment to the welfare of children. And you said that you expressed your concern about poor children and said that society was not doing them justice. Broadly speaking, what would society have to be doing differently to treat them as they should be treated?
Well, that's a much longer question, a much bigger question, but I mean, we have to address poverty and we have to address violence. The whole class system in the country, I think, is just a problem, and in Cleveland in particular. I think because it's so big, it's hard to even try and make inroads into doing something about it. But I think, and my husband, who's a retired public defender, also believes that addressing poverty and dealing with violence in the neighborhood level and creating community with resources in every community is the only answer to some of these big problems that we face.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Councilman Sweeney?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Rex, how are you today?
Very well, thank you.
My one word to describe you is, I'm blanking now. It's just dedicated. I mean, you're just so matter of fact. There's a problem out there, and it has to be dealt with. And your commitment is kind of off the chart in my eyes, and you want to get something done. It's done through the chair. So my question to you, the board has been created. You said it's been 4 years, and it's fully operating. The
Yes.
game plan is made, the path is gone, and now we're going full force. Do you think you get the respect that you not deserve, that would have an impact on the work that you do, the advocacy you have, the expertise that you have to help move the department or division in the direction that maximizes the care of the kids?
I think we do. I really do think we do. I think we have a great relationship with the leadership of the department and have with each of the directors. I think we've had 3 since the board started. They've all been, they're all bright, dedicated themselves, and very interested in using the board to help and also being willing to listen to the board and respond to our requests. So I would say yes.
Yeah, that to me, that was important. You're going to put all this work in through the chair and dedication in your heart, and not be maybe dismissed as too strong. But it seems like they're embracing you, and it's just a problem that can need a lot of continual attention and work. And I'm very thankful that you're signing up for another 4. And if you feel ever that you need another little push to try to help something advance and more people push in the same direction, tends to get results that are the way you want them. Sign me up to let me help you if I can.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Madam Chairwoman. I remember the word, impressive. That's the word I was going
Oh,
to use.
thank
I'm an
you.
old. my
That was
brain
worth
is-
getting up this
I turned
morning and coming
60,
here
so
for.
it's almost gone in my brain. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just wanted to address Councilman Miller's question in regards to what the issues are. And Director Fletcher and I have discussed several times about prevention, and just what Deborah has stated today, that we need wraparound services to try to prevent families from even coming in the system. So we've talked about how to identify those families, who would all identify, so we can really take a look during this budget. We have not sat down for the budget discussion yet. I believe that will be, we got pushed back to July 31st. We'll be talking about all these issues and how that dollar amount can really be adjusted to start taking, I mean, we can't solve this issue on this side right away, but we can't afford more to keep coming in. So we've got to really take a look at that. So I just wanted to share that with you, Councilman Miller.
Okay, well, Ms. Rex, I want to thank you for your social justice advocacy and for your, being on the pulse of what's affecting the quality of life for the less fortunate, especially our children. I want to thank you for stepping up to service, and we look forward with working with you and Chairwoman Conwell and Director Fletcher to ensure that you have the tools to make a dent in this behemoth of a problem that you just described so eloquently. So thank you today for your service.
Welcome, and thank you for what you all do. I mean, not just in the service of children, but you've got big jobs here. It's a big county, and I'm grateful for all of you and for your time this morning, and especially for Ms. Conwell. Her ongoing dedication to children in this community is exemplary. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Chief Gallagher, this is requesting a second reading suspension.
Correct, thank you.
All right, may I have a motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading under suspension of the rules?
I so move.
Second.
That's been moved by Miller, seconded by Sweeney. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move to the next council meeting.
Resolution 2023-0193, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Albert Bouchahine, Manager of Classification and Compensation for the Personnel Review Commission. Before you for your consideration are modifications to the county's non-bargaining classification plan. Changes in the department's operational needs and routine maintenance necessitate the creation of 3 new classifications and the revision of 6 classifications. The 3 new classifications were requests from the administration, and if adopted by council, will be posted and filled at that time. All the revisions are part of the PRC's routine maintenance process and don't have any changes in pay grade or FLSA status. All the modifications were presented to you were worked on by the PRC class and comp staff, who has worked extensively with the HR department to ensure that all department management is aware of the changes. In accordance with the PRC's rules, the proposed changes were posted on a PRC's website prior to your consideration today. They were considered by the PRC and approved at their June 7th, 2023 meeting. Madam Chair, due to the upcoming council summer recess, I'm requesting second reading suspension. I thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. So we have, let's see, in our new classifications, Deputy Sheriff Cadet, And this position would allow the sheriff's office to train cadets prior to commencement of service as a deputy. Okay, we have a new manager position in the HR department and a senior manager in contracts and performance. Okay. For the classification modifications, are there any incumbent employees, and what impact will this have on them?
Madam Chair, there are incumbents in all of these classifications. There was no impact. We just updated language and formatting, no changes in salary pay range.
Okay. And for the new classifications that aren't used, so the new sheriff does, if he doesn't utilize, for example, the cadet program, will the PRC revisit this matter? Will it be eliminated?
The program is an initiative of the Sheriff's Department. If the new sheriff decides not to go forward with the program, we'll be here before you to delete the classification.
Okay. Open it up to my colleagues. Councilman Miller?
I'd like to ask if you could give a little more description of each of the new positions and how many people are expected to be placed into each classification.
The manager of the Human Resource Information System classification will have one incumbent when it's posted, and so will the senior manager of contracts and performance. The manager HRIS is a manager-level position within the HR department that will oversee the business process of the ERP module for human resources. They'll also be the go-between between the Human Resource Department and the IT department. The senior manager of contracts and performance is in the Department of Health and Human Services. They will report up through the administrator, who I believe Marcos Cortez at the time, and help manage the contract analysts that work in that department. If you have more specific questions regarding the deputy sheriff cadet program or the HRIS manager position, I do have HR Director Sarah Nemistel here and Sheriff Griner, who could answer specific questions regarding the cadet program.
So, Madam Chair, to Mr. Bouchenine, I'd like a little more understanding of how many people we might place in the cadet program at any one time.
I'm going to defer that question to the sheriff.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Joe Griner. The purpose of the cadet program is to allow current members of the Sheriff's Department in other positions, whether it's protective services, court security, corrections officers, the opportunity that we would put them into a cadet program and send them to the police academy and allow them to transition to deputy sheriffs. We don't have a set number of how many people we have do it because it's going to be a volunteer status to do that. So basically, it's a way to promote from within and utilize current personnel that want to go to the next level. If they want to go to become a deputy sheriff, move on from the protective service position or court security or corrections officer, as well as any others. We're not limiting just those units, but anybody within the department that wants to go on will use this as a promotion, a way to increase our numbers and hire within.
And Madam Chair, Sheriff, how long is the training program and is it full-time?
So it is full-time. So currently, the Opata Academy is a minimum of 740 hours, and it takes 18 weeks for them to, from start to finish, to go through. And as this cadet program is, they will be paid as an employee in the cadet program under this classification as they're going through the academy.
And Madam Chair, Sheriff, am I correct that we would not place anybody into this cadet program unless there were a deputy sheriff position available for them to fill if they successfully complete the program? Is that correct?
Correct. There has to be open positions for this. We're not putting them into this program as for a waiting list. So if we have open positions for the Sheriff's Department, as well as prior to them going in, they're going to have to go through the initial background check to make sure they're qualified to go through the Opata Police Academy. So not everybody that currently is employed may be able to go through, depending on their history or maybe some type of minor, criminal charge in their past that may allow them to work in one area but not in the other area of the Sheriff's Department. So they will have to pass that initial background check, and then they'll be qualified to go to the academy.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Gallagher?
I just have that on a point, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Just on the answer you just gave to Dale, or the councilman, there has to be an opening for this, so it doesn't, if there's an opening and it takes 18 weeks to get there, is that delay in the filling it? Or is there going through it, can somebody else apply for it and hire, and then there's no longer an opening?
So part of this process is we're trying to come up with some out-of-the-box thinking of how to get personnel into the deputy sheriff's role. We currently have 13 open positions that were slated to hire, and it's taken almost 2 years, and we still haven't filled those 13 because, we'll hire 4, 2 will retire, we'll hire 5. So, I'm swearing in 8 deputies after this meeting, but we're still not to the 13. So,
Got it.
And that's only, is 13 our maximum? No, we need more bodies than that, but we're not asking for any more until we at least fill the spots that we currently have.
You answered my question. It's through the chair. You're figuring out ways to fill this, and this is one system, one avenue to do it, but there's all kinds, and it's not perfect, but it is a path to get there. And if for some reason they get out of class and there's no spot there, my hope is they could continue to have that till a spot opens. It doesn't expire.
Yeah,
or anything,
our
right?
intention's not to, well, it does, there is an expiration. So once you graduate from the academy, you have 1 year to hold your commission. After, if you don't, if
should
you're
be
not
able to-
commissioned within a year, after 2 years, you have to take the whole academy over again. But it's not our intention to put people into this cadet program academy class to not give them jobs at the end of it. So that's going to be part of the process to, we have these open spots, we have cadets that are going through it, and we're going to utilize those to fill those spots.
And through the chair, now it makes more sense. You got that 1 year window. It's not like graduate, got to fill it.
Correct.
That'd be preferred if it was open, but their 1 year of availability most likely will be fulfilled because they're just normal progression will be an opening.
I guess
Do they have a
another-
preferred spot then?
I guess another way to think about it is if you think about it like similar to how Cleveland has their own academy,
Yeah.
okay? They have open spots, they have academy, Cleveland has many open spots. They only had 22 people sign up for their academy last year. So
Yeah.
these 22 people are going to graduate and go into the force. Same thing, except we're not doing the outside academy, we're using this to promote within.
Thank you for the further explanation, and I will try to do my homework a little bit earlier so I don't have to repeat myself.
No,
So,
no problem. I appreciate
Thank
the
you.
questions.
Thank you. Councilman Gallagher?
Still a little confused. So if this is for in-house people. So you're a CO, you go into the academy, are you still a CO?
No, you're going to go into this classification as a cadet.
So we lose a CO and this cadet does what?
So this cadet goes to the academy, and then once the person or he or she graduates from the academy, then they're put into the deputy sheriff's classification.
That's 18 months?
18 weeks.
18 weeks. So for 18 weeks, we're out a CO, so we're kind of,
Correct, and
I see the difficulty
It
we
is
have.
difficulty, but we also have people that are leaving the department to, take other jobs as well. So this is also part of the retention process. So it's not I would not say this is not a fix-all solution. This is just another tool in the bag to help us work with keeping some retention, keeping some, movement where people that may, because, we have people that are interested in going and becoming deputy sheriffs. It might be a cost factor. It might be a cost factor they can't afford to go to the academy. It might be a cost factor they can't take the time off and go into an unpaid leave to go through the academy. So it's a way to retain people that we currently have, give them an option within our department to keep them, as well as also help those that are interested in taking it to the next level and working that now. We are in communication, and Sarah, I'm sorry, I don't know if we've dealt with, because we had to talk to the bargaining units as well. So there's different bargaining units out there, and I think it was our intention that there was agreements with the bargaining, are we? That, let's say, the cadet program, a CO goes into the cadet program and doesn't like it, doesn't do well, they can come out and they can go back into their current position, their spot as a CO again. It's not like they're out of job. So if it's not their cup of tea, they go through the academy, don't like it, they can come back and they can go back into as a CO.
That's the academy that's run by the Highway Patrol.
I don't know exactly which academy they'll be sent to. There's many academies all over. There's the State Highway Patrol, there's Tri-C's got an
Tri-C.
academy. So I believe we're looking at Tri-C just because it's in county and so, but I'm not sure, 100% sure on that.
I mean, this strangely has become a universal problem. I was just having breakfast this morning with some police in Strongsville, and they had, 5 years ago, they had a police test. They had 500 candidates.
Yeah.
This past one, they had 14.
Yeah.
And Cleveland just had the 8. They moved 8 people in. It's the lowest class ever, so it's,
My first police test that I took back in '96, there was over 300 people for one spot, and now we're lucky if we can get, 15, 16 to apply. And that's the other thing is we're also, there's a lot of departments are taking laterals, okay, because they're taking anything. So we're basically stealing from each other. So we're not helping the solution. We're just taking each other's resources. This is a way to actually create new resources, create new officers, and get them into the field opposed to just taking from other departments.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. And thank you, Mr. Bushaheen. Councilman Miller?
Yes, I have an additional question. My question is, how often does a training class start?
Oh, no.
Steps in today.
It's okay, Anita. Sir, I'm not sure exactly when that is. I think that we're not going to produce probably enough candidates to have our own class. They're going to have to join into, so it's going to fall into whatever the system is. Now, I think that's what I'm saying is it might be our intention to use Tri-C first, but if Tri-C doesn't have one that aligns with the people, we might use another one. Ultimately, I mean, we're not going to be paying for, hotel and boarding and stuff like that. That's not the intention of this program. So it would be something local, but there are several police academies within the general area of Cleveland that we could use.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Okay, so we are asking for second reading on the suspension. May I have a motion to move this to the full body of council? Second reading under suspension of the rules. Been moved by Conwell, second by Gallagher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Bushing. Do we have any miscellaneous business?
A little bit.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And if the director, just about, got a call from a constituent that's an employee that with having the option to have 2 benefits, a choice, will the county, if you don't take the benefits, can you get some kind of stipend instead of taking it? And I wouldn't mind hearing her take on that,
Hey, Director.
or Pat, or whatever. And we could talk offline. Sometimes I want to bring it up so we can just start a discussion. And just the history of, I know the city of Cleveland doesn't do it, but I know the sewer district doesn't. And if you decline the benefits, could you get some kind of compensation, is the question. Hi, Director, through the chair.
Good morning, Chairwoman Turner and committee members. I'm Sarah Nemistel, Director of Human Resources, and I brought Pat Smock, who is our Director of HR Employee Services, who is aware of the history. We do offer such an incentive, and he will provide the background for you.
Correct. There's a stipend for employees who opt out of the
Mr.
benefits
Smock,
program.
if you could identify yourself for the record.
Madam Clerk, apologies. Pat Smock, Director of Employee Services and Human Resources. There is a stipend that employees can have the opportunity to earn. It depends on their bargaining unit or if they're non-bargaining. We've been doing this for several years. There are conversations regarding whether or not it is robust enough, right, to encourage employees. They do, through the open enrollment process or the new hire process, an employee has to attest to the fact that they have benefits. We don't want someone going without benefits, their family to go without coverage, and then they can avail themselves of the opportunity for a stipend. Again, I'm not aware of any of them being over $50 a pay. They're in the neighborhood of $20, $23. I just looked at one yesterday. We had an employee who asked, and it was for a non-bargaining employee, I can state it's $20 if you opt out of medical per pay, $3 to opt out of dental per pay. So $23 per pay for the employee.
And thank you. And I might, through the chair, ask to do a little comparison through other public entities so I can have a better hand, because I think the sewer district pays $350 per month for not taking it, and $20 per paycheck, and what other places are. So, because it's a new administration, I'm newer on council, fresh eyes at it, and I didn't even know the $20 thing. And I try to be aware of it, because some people have the different choices, and I don't remember looking at that box when I first started to see if there was an opportunity for that. So, Madam Director, I look forward to maybe just highlighting it now, but if you don't mind, the staff and I will do a little bit of due diligence and work with Pat, if you don't mind, and just so I have a better understanding on what could be out there, so you can make a decision or a recommendation or not, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for letting me do a little bit of
Madam
that.
Chair, just for the record.
Absolutely.
Apologies, Madam Chair. Just for the record, that was non-bargaining. Again, I want to be clear that bargaining units have different, depending on their collective bargaining.
Oh, absolutely, I heard that, but
Thank you.
the people, I know the different classifications, and both have brought it to my attention,
Thanks, Madam Chair.
so thank you.
Okay, well, I learned something this morning. Thank you, Councilman. Okay. All right, we'll follow up. Okay, thank you both. All right, if there's no other miscellaneous business, our meeting is adjourned.